Clutter can be a tactic of abuse, something that abusive people do on purpose to try to control you. Today, I just want to put this idea out there because this is something that's not talked about enough. People don't think of clutter in these terms, but this is where clutter originates sometimes. The basic principle that we're working from here is simple enough. If you're a functioning adult living in your own space, then you maximize your power, you get the best results if you choose the material items that are around you. And if someone is trying to interfere with that process, it's fair to guess that they're trying to keep you from maximizing your power. They're trying to reduce your power. They're trying to interfere with your life. And that is what abuse is all about. Now, it is a more complicated situation if you're sharing a space with other people and you feel like you're being crowded out. And you need to find out if you're being crowded out as a malicious intent or simply out of neglect. But either way, there's something you need to do about that. But let me go back to the situation of living in your own place, because I think that's the situation of most of the people watching. You know you have a problem if you look around and a good fraction of the things that you see are not the things that you would choose for yourself if you had the choice. These are things that other people chose for you. They told you in one way or another that you had to have them there. And this can happen a number of different ways. Sometimes these are things that are given to you, but they're given with strings attached. That is, there's some kind of implied threat of what will happen if you don't keep and protect these things that were given to you. There can also be things that are other people's stuff, and they've left them with you as a place to store them, possibly, or they've simply left them behind, and maybe out of neglect and maybe on purpose. Either way, if this is taking up a lot of your space and changing the nature of the space that you live in, it's a problem. And the answer, in any case, is some clutter clearing. And you're probably not going to start out by simply throwing these things away. It depends on what position you're in. But most likely you'll start out by getting these things out of sight. You can put them in cardboard boxes and put the boxes in a stack in the corner or somewhere where you won't pay so much attention to them. The other thing to do is to stop talking about these things entirely. So if someone has given you something and wants you to keep it forever, it doesn't do you any good to mention the thing ever. You want everyone to forget that you ever had it. So take a gradual approach usually, but start getting these things out of the visible part of your space and into a corner where you won't have to think about them so much. And then if you can put them in boxes and have them disappear for a few years, you'll probably feel comfortable getting rid of them entirely in one way or another. Now, this can be an emotional process because very often in these situations where you're dealing with abusive people, there's some childhood trauma involved, and you can bring these issues up while you're doing this clutter clearing. In other words, there's going to be some heavy emotions along the way. It's another reason to go slow, but also to be present. Notice what emotions come up. If you can do some journaling, write about what you're feeling and what the stories are related to that, what the conflicts are, what you think the answers are, what you think the causes are, what past experiences are related to what you're dealing with. That's a good way to get some of these conflicts out of you, a way to resolve them. If you go slow enough that it's not overwhelming, then you may be able to process a lot of this past trauma just by writing about it. Now, there are specific scenarios where this clutter most often comes from. Usually it involves a parent or some other relative, or it involves a romantic partner. And I don't have time to go into those details today, but if you want me to do videos specifically on those special cases, comment below and I'll be happy to add some more details about parents and romantic partners or abusive partners, abusive relationships, and the clutter that's related to that.